Hi, it's Lynne with Soft Squares. I am making two quilts from the same panel or the same line of fabric, each using a panel of the same. Did that make sense? They're both using jelly rolls, but they're put together completely different and using coordinating fabrics. This is a panel. We're going to cut it up and make some really simple blocks, and I'm going to show you what I did with it and how I did it. We are going to work on the second quilt. I have a sick dog. Sick meaning she has heart problems and the coughing is fluid in her lungs, so I don't like hearing her cough. Okay. This is quilt number 2 of the flower quilts, and they're both from the same series of fabric. They're both using jelly rolls in addition to the panel, and I'm using the same panel for both. The difference is one of the quilts, which is the one I'm going to show you today, has coordinating fabric from the same line as the panel, as well as their roll of jelly rolls. It's really cool. And then the second one is using coordinating fabric, but not from the same line. And it's a completely different configuration. So let me know which one you like, whether it be 1 or 2, and this is 2. So look for video 1. And honestly, this one might come out before the second one does, because this one is done first. So look for the 2, flower 1 and flower 2. I'm gonna cut this up, but I'm gonna cut it up in strips instead of blocks. So I'm just going to go straight across. So that means I have to be really careful that I'm lined up. Now, when you're in the store and you have a print, they are going to cut through one layer and then come back on the bottom and cut through the other to make sure they are exactly where they want to be. I am hoping I don't have to do that because I need the whole line to be straight. I might have to play with this a little bit, and I might even draw lines on where to cut and then do it individually. I know there was hardly any wiggle room with these because the blocks are what, 4 by 5. So here's an example. Here's your 5 from here to here. See how that green is barely in there? And then here's your 4. So there's a little room on that one. But if I were to slide it up here, look at this really cool green. And you can see it matches that really well. But this is part of its line. And actually, maybe it says on here what it is. Wow. Flow is what this one's called. Then again, don't you think daisies are the friendliest flower? Maybe that's the line and flow is the color. Fresh as a daisy. All I know is they were all together coordinating. But, so I've got this, which might be more like a border fabric. I'm not sure. But I also bought a jelly roll. And I want to open this up so I can see what these fabrics are. They're going to be completely different than what I'm using on the quilt that I'm making right now because I've already put the blocks together and it's a little bit different color scheme. I don't know if this helps you a little bit, just to see. So this would be very different if I end up making a second one, which I do think is going to happen. So here is this line. Let's just go through it. It's definitely not gonna, I'm not gonna mix it with this or just way too many things going on. And I purposefully picked the Tuesday morning fabric or fabric from Tuesday morning because I didn't want a whole lot of colors and variations going on. But now I have this when I do another one that's gonna be using. Here's the line, fresh as a daisy, create joy project. By Moda. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you, this could have a whole different look with how I'm building this quilt. I tried to mix up what was in them, but again, it's supposed to be scrappy, but I was trying to avoid this. A lot of light in one. But it is what it is. It's still mixed up. And I did pull this one out of the bundle because I have yardage of this and I want to use this as the between the rows fabric, and I wanted it to be separate, completely separate from that. So now that I've got this, it's time to go back to these and figure out what exactly we have going on and what we need. It is 72. You know, I think I have enough to make a quilt that big. I have this nice reference sheet, which by the way, you can get by going to my website, softsquares.com. This is a printable download and it's free there. But anyway, it's just a quick reference. So if I have something that's 72, and that's without any borders. So these are the comforter sizes. So 72 makes it about oh, that's the mattress size. We don't care about that. This is just a reference point. Over here, 72 is my width. I can make a double. I think a queen makes sense because more people will have that size of bed. So let's shoot for 84 by 92. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. My goal is to cut that out of here and use this. Okay, so we're good. We are good with that one. These are now going to get a 2.5 inch strip on each side of the rows. So I'm going to cut my green fabric up because this came out of the jelly roll, so I had one of those, but I have a yard and some extra, I think, of the green. So I'm going to cut that up and go ahead and sew those on there. And I wanted to show you the progress of these. So these have already been sewn together in kind of big chunks, and I'll be able to cut them and kind of mix and match the sections, but they're more manageable when they're smaller like this. They actually started out as 3 rows at a time, and now they are, I think, 12. 3, 6, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14. All right, so I've got 2 sets of 14 and 1 set of 9. Is that right? Where did my short one go? Oh, let's try that again. 2 sets of 14 and 1 set that was 3 shy, so that's 11. And had I used all of the strips in the jelly roll, I would have had 1 more in there, but I kept this out because I wanted to use the green somewhere else. But now these are sewn and it will be able to just be mix and match. So my next step with this part is to cut them in 8-inch rows. And then we'll start assembling. All right, so the top and the bottom are going to get an extra green strip, where the rest of them are going to get green strips on both sides for the panel pieces. Does that make sense? So on the panel, I've gone through and I've matched them up and pinned them, but on the strip set, I have not yet. Well, I have actually. But what you have to do is be really, really careful to not stretch this because of all the seams that are back here, but you want to make sure it is stretched enough. So what I did was I measured my panel because it's solid. It doesn't have, it only has one seam in it and there's not a lot of give, so it's pretty true to what that is. And that mine came up with 70, oh, I have it written down, 72 inches, I believe. Yeah, 72 inches. And so I made sure my strip sets were 72, as you give them just a tight nudge. You know, you don't want to have it all wrinkled like this. And then these are 72, but when you match them up, there's a lot of give. This is why you want to make sure you definitely are doing it this way. So, I don't know if you can see these in the background. These are my strips that I'm working on for my floral quilt. I get a little ADD or something, I don't know, get bored, need to switch it up. So I did quite a bit yesterday, and now this just needs to be sewn together. And I've got more over here, and then these are the big blocks. Really all the pieces are right here, so it should come together pretty quickly when I sit down with this again. But I thought I'd show you kind of my process with this. I have put my pieced strip along my strip piece. I know they're two different things. And pin them. You start at the end and then pin in the middle, and then you just work your way so it's evenly spaced. That way you don't have a bunch in one area. So that's what I did for what I've sewn already. And now I'm going to go ahead and sew this on, and this will be the very, very bottom strip. And then I'm going to go through here and sew these on. And I've already gone through and done the same thing where I've measured everything is consistently, all the green strips are the 72 inches. Going to sew those on, and then we'll go to the next step. The next step in this process is to take one of these and make sure your orientation is going the right direction. I have a direction, you may or may not. This doesn't matter, but this does. And so I am going to do the strip set that's above it and attach it to this. Don't want it below because it won't work very well for my layout. So the way you put it together, again, these are all the same width, but they do a little giving and stretching because of this, and we need to do it this way for sure. And try to find the middle. That's pretty close. And then you work your way through each side. Ideally, you find the middle again and work your way out. And this is how you can ease your seam if for some reason there's a difference in size. Now that's so easy for things to change with all these seams the way that they are. Let's see here. And I want to make sure that I'm sewing this side up. Makes life easier for me. So however you do it, whether you use binder clips, oh my gosh, I keep calling these binder clips. Wonder clips, or if you pin it, I would recommend that this is the side that's up when you go to the sewing machine. With the Wonder clips, it doesn't matter, but sewing part actually does. All right, I've joined the next row. All right, I have a lot going on my design wall, but where you see the green with the stripes, this is laying on top of some other things, but this is the project we're working on, and I'm going to show you how to make these sets. I've got 3 more to make, and then 1 more of these at the bottom, and we're done. So they've already been sewn together and matched up as far as the individual strips and rows. I've got those all figured out. Now it's just a matter of sewing this green onto here, and oh sorry, I lied. The green goes onto these, goes on both sides of this, and then it had one up here too. But because there's a lot of seams, this is stretchy, so you want to be really careful, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The quilt is done. It's on my design wall, but due to the proximity of my design wall and my workstation, my cutting table, I have draped it over the edge of this because I can. So this is really cool. It is big, like I wanted to. I need to measure this. It is 72 by 79. And I am going to put some borders on it. I'm thinking maybe just a white border. I get a white that matches the white that's in there, and then that will be it, other than bindings. All right, so here's my sheet. We are at 72 by 79. That works right there. If I add 10 inches on each side, or 5 inches on each side, it'll be a little bit bigger than that. Or I might stretch it to here. A queen is actually more practical. So after I figure out what borders I want on there, then I'll be done. So I'm gonna do that a little bit later. But once this is quilted, you'll see it again. But my goal is to get around this range, 84 by 92. We'll see. Tell me what you think.